All right, today we're going to talk about something that I think most of us are desperate for, but almost never give ourselves permission to do: absolutely nothing. And we're going to explore this through a really fantastic book by Olga Mecking called Niksen, which is all about this amazing Dutch concept.
But first, seriously, think about this for a second. When somebody asks you how you're doing, what's your go-to answer? Is it something like, oh, so busy, or swamped? It's like somewhere along the way, being completely overwhelmed became a status symbol, a weird badge of honor.
So here's our game plan. We're going to start by figuring out what this art of doing nothing actually is. Then we'll get into why we fight against rest so much. After that, we'll uncover the secret power of letting your mind just be. I'll give you a practical guide to trying Niksen yourself, and we'll wrap up with a kind of manifesto for doing nothing.
Okay, let's kick things off with part 1, the art of doing nothing. So what on earth is Niksen?
Our guide for today's journey is Olga Mecking's book. She lives in the Netherlands, and she really dives deep into how this cultural habit is a powerful tool for boosting creativity, getting more done, and just, feeling better in our crazy, non-stop world.
So, the definition is actually pretty simple. Niksen is a verb in Dutch. It literally means to do nothing, to be idle, or to do something completely and utterly pointless, with absolutely no goal in mind. We're talking about just staring out the window, listening to music without analyzing it, or just sitting on a park bench.
Now this is really important, because it's easy to get this wrong. Niksen is not laziness or procrastination. It's a deliberate choice to be aimless for a bit. It's also not the same as mindfulness, which asks you to focus your awareness. Niksen is the total opposite. It's all about letting your mind wander wherever it wants to go. And maybe the biggest one for us today, it is not doom scrolling on your phone or binge watching a show. It's a real break from all purpose and all in.
And this isn't just some new trend, it's baked right into Dutch culture. The Netherlands is always ranked as one of the happiest countries in the world, and a big part of that seems to be that their society actually values and supports downtime and relaxation. It's a culture that gets that taking a pause is a good thing.
So, if it's so great, why is it so ridiculously hard for most of us? That brings us to our next section, our war against rest. What is the deal? Why is something so simple so difficult to actually do?
Well, it really comes down to this. Our society has taught us that our self-worth is tied to how productive we are. Being busy is seen as a sign that you're important, that you're successful. And that creates this deep, nagging guilt anytime we even think about stopping, because that little voice in our head tells us we should be doing something useful.
And if you think that sounds like an exaggeration, get this. This study it's mind-blowing. Researchers found that a lot of people would literally rather give themselves mild electric shocks than just sit quietly in a room with their own thoughts for 15 minutes. Let that sink in. We are so uncomfortable with being idle that we will actually choose physical pain over it.
Okay, so if we're willing to go to such extreme lengths to avoid it, what are we missing out on? This is where it gets exciting. Let's talk about the power of the idle mind and the truly surprising science-backed benefits of doing nothing. So here's the cool science part. When you're doing Niksen, your brain isn't just turning off. It's actually firing up a really important system called the default mode network. Think of it as your brain's creative background processor. It's when it gets to work organizing memories, dreaming about the future, and, this is the big one, making new connections between old ideas. You know how your best ideas always pop up in the shower? Well, that's your default mode network in action.
And the results of letting that network do its thing? They're pretty amazing. We're talking about a real boost in creativity and problem solving. It helps you make better, more intuitive decisions, and of course, it's one of the best ways to fight stress and burnout, leaving you with more mental clarity and just a better sense of well-being. Turns out, being idle is one of the most productive things you can do for your brain.
Okay, so you're probably thinking, I'm in. But how? In a world that is always on, how do you actually start doing nothing? So let's get practical. Here is your official guide to Niksen. The book gives some really simple ways to get started. You can just reclaim those little moments in between things. Waiting for the bus, don't pull out your phone. Just wait. That's a Niksen moment. Stuck in traffic, it's a perfect chance to just sit and breathe. If you're at work and you can't focus, just step away from the screen and stare out the window for 5 minutes. You can even schedule it. Literally put do nothing on your calendar.
Now let's zoom out a bit, because this idea is actually way bigger than just a personal self-care tip. It's kind of a quiet revolution against our entire culture of burnout. And that brings us to our last section, a manifesto for nothing.
This line from the Nikseners manifesto in the book just says it all. It's a call to completely change how we think about productivity. It's about breaking the link between our value as human beings and how much we produce for the economy. It's about believing that we are enough just as we are.
And this, right here, is the key takeaway. In our modern, burned-out world, doing nothing isn't some fancy luxury. It's not a weakness or something to feel guilty about. It's an absolute necessity. Our bodies need rest, and our brains desperately need it to function properly.
So I want to leave you with this final thought. In a world that is always demanding more from you, more hustle, more content, more engagement, what incredible ideas, what brilliant solutions, or what deep sense of peace might you discover if you just gave yourself permission to do nothing at all?